It is the Anfield wrap in association with Reds Bet. We're going to be talking about Liverpool 2, Tottenham Hotspur 1. We've got loads of excellent Reds Bet stuff coming on the Anfield wrap this week through Aintree. So check out all of our social media channels, and we'll be in Aintree on Thursday. Loads of stuff will be coming from there on YouTube. Very excited about that indeed. And obviously we partnered with Reds Bet for the whole of 2019, so please do get on board with them if you're interested in that sort of thing. And if you're not, don't worry about it and always be responsible. Speaking of being responsible, I've got Lizzi Doyle, I've got John Gibbons, and I've got Gareth Roberts. John Gibbons, how responsible did you feel, I'd say at approximately 6:30 yesterday?
Yeah, it was a nice feeling, wasn't it? To be honest, like, I was a wreck second half. Like, I had a t-shirt over my head at one point for about a minute.
Really?
Like, yeah, like
the lad who sits behind me after it went 2-1, genuinely, it's the great behind me, the lads behind me, but one of them knelt down and faced the opposite way and clung onto his seat at 2-1. And I said, "Are you all right?" And he was like, "This is just what I need to do now."
Yeah, well, fair enough. I mean, we've all got ways of getting through it. I wasn't quite that bad. And I think I really enjoyed how little happened at 2-1.
Yeah.
Like, someone just got injured for a bit, didn't he? And then the ball went out for a bit, and then it just seemed to be full time. So, but yeah, between them scoring and us scoring, there was a lot of me head in the t-shirt.
How did you feel between us scoring and them scoring, Gareth, or the other way around?
Between them scoring and us scoring?
Yeah.
I enjoyed it, to be honest with you. I thought, I'm obviously always tuned into like how the ground is, because I'm massively into that, and I think it's that important. And I thought we were great. I thought we were behind them, and I thought there was a couple of moans over, I think Henderson played a bad ball at one point and got a bit of grief. Mo as well tried to do a bit of around the corner and it just went out, and that got this similar treatment. But it was not unlike, the bad old days, and I felt like the support was really good. Everyone kept their heads a little bit, and the Reds kept going and got there in the end. And I honestly think it was the best possible way to win a football match, in the context of everything. I just think it's done everyone's head in. I've really enjoyed this morning just reading all the media reports, because they're just all bristling with, they're all fuming. They all feel like they're fuming. I mean, like, you've got someone like, and it's no secret that I don't like this fella, but you've got someone like Daniel Taylor in The Guardian, and he's talking about the manager's teeth. Like, why is the manager's teeth relevant to anything, mate, other than you're fuming? You put that in because you're fuming. And so I absolutely love it. I love it when the media's fuming. I love it when the world doesn't want us to win and we win. And that's exactly what happened. And I think, Klopp says something like, it wouldn't be better if we won 5-0. And I agree with him, because I think the manner of it means that, you sort of get that little bit of a feeling that maybe our name's on it. And maybe the players feel that way as well. But also I think it guards against complacency for the players as well, because they can see how close they come to dropping some points there. Equally, it's deflated Spurs a little bit, but I think you saw enough from Spurs to say they're going to give City a game over those 3 games. And also they need the points to stay in the top 4. They've got a big, lovely stadium that they need to pay for. They need Champions League football to play it. They need Champions League football in that stadium. So I absolutely loved it. I had a great time, and I went to Harry afterwards, and there was a fella dressed as a banana, and I'm not entirely sure why, but I was on board with it. It was absolutely brilliant. There was a fella dressed as a banana and another fella with a stool above his head, as though it was like the European Cup, and everyone just dancing around them, and it was lovely and primal. It was brilliant.
I'm sort of with Gareth, Lizzie, in terms of that's a great way to win a match. It's a great way to get the result. I saw Adam Mealy afterwards, and he said all this. He said yes, but let's not do that again. Adam said, going forward, the rest of the games, I'd like to score after 10 minutes and then score every 10 minutes thereafter. That's the way I'd like to do it now. I feel like we've had this one of these. We've done it. We nailed it. And I think the best thing about it is how Liverpool hung in there when it felt like it was slipping.
Yeah, I agree. And to me, it did feel like it was slipping. At 1-1, I was the person with my head in my hands. I was thinking, no, this can't be happening again. But I'm with Gareth, the crowd didn't feel like it did when we were playing Leicester at home and we were drawing. It felt different. And the way that we won that game was just ridiculous. And I'd rather win like that all day, any day. I mean, time stopped. That ball went in, then out, then back in again. I'm sure of it. I'm sure I've seen the ball bounce back out, then go back in. I don't know how it got over the line. I don't know how Lloris done what he done. The header wasn't that good from Salah, but I don't care. It was a shit goal. That was great. And that's what I want, because it winds people up. And I think, for the players, if that's not some momentum to kick on with now, then I don't know what is. To know that we didn't play too well, but to get that result and to get it in the manner we got it is absolutely massive, and what a way to kickstart these last 7 games.
It was carnage. I thought, Lizzie, when it went in, Gareth used the word primal. It was. I mean, it was up there. It was different in a sense to the Origi one. The Origi one was there was a lot of laughter around the Origi one, and understandably so. This was just more some combination of absolute relief with unbelievable joy. The scenes were unbridled on and off the pitch.
It's keeping title hopes alive, and I'm not to say that if we would have got a point, they would have been, put to bed, but it would have been quite hard to kickstart this last 7 games with a draw, that we were 1-0 ahead of. So the celebrations in that ground were great, and like you said, it was sheer relief. I still haven't introduced myself to the fella who was sitting next to for my season ticket, but I elbowed him in the head. I nearly threw the little girl in front of me down the main stand. I didn't.
She's got a comment.
Yeah, there's a fella who sounds like John who sits behind me who grabbed me. I was like, hey, old John, yay, like, do you know what I mean? But it was bonkers, and I love, from where I am, I'm between the halfway line and the cop. Anything like that, I love staring over the cop and just seeing people just trickling down the stairs and then slowly making their way up, jagged, bruised, out of breath. It was carnage, but you know what, I wouldn't have had it any other way.
Young John, there was the feeling that it was slipping. I think we may be able to drop points at some point in that what is now the remaining 6, what was the remaining 7, and still do it. But it felt like it couldn't have been yesterday, and it couldn't have been in that manner. And that might be a little bit strange. Obviously, we know that 6 wins puts us in a much better position of those remaining. But there will be twists and turns. We're all saying there will be twists and turns, but it would have felt like an absolute body blow yesterday if that had to finish 1-1, or even worse with reference to the Sissoko miss.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's because after the international break, it does feel like this is the chunk of games, doesn't it? And we've all obviously been waiting for a while for this Tottenham game to come, and had to kind of, wait while the international football was played, and you just sort of feel a little bit that, if you'd have dropped points in the first one, then it would have been just so deflating, really. And also, from City's point of view, giving them a massive boost. And I think their players have talked a little bit about, about certain points of the season, how they felt when they've seen kind of what Liverpool have done and in relation to what we've done and stuff like that, and they've talked about the Leicester game giving them a kind of a big boost, and I think this might have done something similar, especially when they've got Cardiff on Wednesday and you'd expect them to turn them over, really. And so yeah, it is a strange one, isn't it? Because I agree with what you said in that we can maybe afford to drop points in one game between now and the end of the season, but it just felt like it couldn't be that very first one, that first hurdle. You wouldn't have wanted to clip it, and although we didn't exactly sail over it, what I mean, we are over it, we are in the race, and as Robbo says, we've sort of boiled a bit of piss along the way.
Well, the boiling of the piss, Gareth, is, I think it's in part because of when the game happens. If that's Saturday 12:30, by Monday it's all a little bit different. If literally that plays out exactly the same way, everyone's broiling and all of that sort of stuff for a bit, but then something else happens at the 5:30. West Ham are crap against Everton, and then the next day City are played, and everyone's saying, when City in control against Fulham. All the way through, I loved the timing of this game because it was one to really set up. In my head, I had one of the things I thought of when it was all going off was Bernardo Silva's having a Sunday dinner watching this. And Bernardo Silva's somewhere just gone, for fuck's sake, is this for real? Or whatever, in whichever language he speaks.
Out for Mother's Day, but checking his phone.
Yeah, all the hits.
Absolutely.
He's just gone, fucking hell.
That's exactly what I thought. I just thought, everywhere in Manchester there's like boxes of dairy milk getting volleyed in the air. Because the
Rolos all over the show.
But they're fuming, aren't they? I mean, there's a brilliant clip. I'm sure a lot of people will have seen it already. But like a lad who's at his mother-in-law's 60th, and like he's watching it on the phone, and like everyone's doing happy birthday, and he's like, happy birthday as the goal goes in. And like that's the good version of it. But I immediately thought of the mank version of it. That phone's going through the window, isn't it? So. Look, we've said it over and over, and I think we're right to say it in that, like, if you are City, and Klopp actually used the word everyone involved is human, he said yesterday, and he's quite right to say that, because if you're City, you can be a brilliant footballer, you can be on a lot of money, you can have a world-class manager, but also you can just be sitting there having your Sunday dinner with your ma going, fucking hell, I wish Liverpool would fuck off, I wish they'd just do one, they haven't even played well. How have they won that? How have they got that goal? And and it just continues, it just rolls on, and I just think that type of stuff gets in people's heads. Like there's a stat going around today, and I feel like we should put that stat on a flag and take it to match, because because the stat is that Liverpool 33 times in the Premier League era have won in the 90th minute or later, and that's something like I think 8 more times than anyone else. So imagine what we used to be like, or remember what we used to be like about the Mancs. Be like, oh, they always win in the last minute. They always find a fluky way to win. We're them now. We're them to the rest of the country, and like the anti-Liverpool shit that you see on the internet's absolutely brilliant. It's lovely. I've never felt better. And honestly, that's
taking about 30 flags to the next game.
Do you know what I mean? I mean, like all of our opponents now, that's got to be in the back of your mind. That's got to be, you know, I asked Stephen Warnock when we were doing the pro view the other day, I said, you know, when you're playing footy, when you were a pro and you were playing footy and it was something like where you knew you had to win to stay up, to win something, whatever. I said, did you actually look at the clock? I was like, sure, of course we did. He said, you can't not. He said, it's in your head. You know it's the second half, and you know that you've got to win, and of course you'd end up glancing at clock. So if everyone's glancing at clocks while they're playing footy, then these lads who come up against Liverpool in these 6 games will be going, fucking hell, we've done well to keep these out, but they always score in the 90th minute. And equally our boys will be going, we'll just keep going, because that's worked against Everton, that's worked against Tottenham. You know, goalkeepers keep having nightmares against Liverpool as well. Long may that continue also. I mean, once upon a time, that was the other way around. I mean, our keeper had a little bit of a go, didn't he? With that weird header into Milner or whatever he was doing.
Yeah, felt like he was being innovative yesterday. He had
But, you know, once upon a time, it was us who was regularly going on about, you know, goalkeepers who weren't good. You know, he had a nightmare him yesterday, by the way. It wasn't just that goal, but he was booting it all over the show. He sets, well, doesn't set it up, but the first one's from a shit kick from, isn't it? So I'm really glad he's not our goalkeeper and that we've got the goalkeeper we've got. But yeah, great times.
Game of 2 halves, to nail the cliches down. John, first half Liverpool on top. It's a great goal, which is now a bit forgotten, obviously, and knocked over in the excitement. But we built up a bit of a head of steam, I think, at that stage, and there was actually I was quite annoyed Matip had just given a free kick away on Kane, which felt like he didn't have to do, because I thought we were beginning to really turn the screw here and put the pressure on, and then 30 seconds later it was in the back of the net anyway. So it was we were at that point, you felt like a goal was coming, and it almost came earlier than we might have expected, and it was a really good cross, good finish.
Yeah, it was a very good cross. I thought Robertson was generally excellent, and I think both fullbacks are playing really well. But also, I'm into how much they pass to each other. Like, I've never known fullbacks pass to each other so much. Really, it doesn't really happen, do it? But they love a little big switch to each other, don't they? But I think it's effective, because, you know, if we're overloading one side and all the defenders are kind of going over there and trying to deal with it, that big switch, if it's done well and it's done quickly, can find some space. But it's a great cross. It's a really good header. It's like a number 9 finish, innit, from someone who's kind of not, you know, often talked about not being, but
like Latchford. Yeah,
it was. Yeah. Or Marty McCutcheon, either one. I can't figure it out. No, it was a really good header, and I think you're right. We were on top without creating loads, but I thought it was a really controlled performance. I thought it was, you know, almost a European type performance, wasn't it? In that, you know, they had respect for Tottenham. They knew that they could, you know, break and hurt them, but they were just, you know, in control, on top of the game, not panicking, doing sensible things, waiting for the opening, and when the opening come, we executed it brilliantly.
Do Tottenham do well stemming our flow at that point, Lizzie, or do we do it to ourselves, or is it a bit of both? Because we don't create a lot first half, but we're on top. We really are on top, I think, at that stage of the game. Until about 35, it does feel like it's Liverpool's game. What we've been very good at in the European type games is turning 1 into 2, and the crowd was up, and I thought it's going to go here, but it never quite came, did it?
No, and I think you've got to give credit to Tottenham as well. I think they played really well. I think it was a little bit more to do with us being a bit wasteful, personally, first off, but I'm with you. I felt quite confident. That first goal went in, and I thought he had the seconds coming, and that to me shows that it was more Liverpool that were wasteful rather than Tottenham were doing a good job to keep us quiet, because it felt like it could come and it didn't. And I think we really should have capitalised on that couple of minutes, but we didn't. But I also got to half time and I was getting me coffee, and I heard someone say, God, I hope we don't throw this away, you know. And I was thinking, oh, shut up. Like, that was fine. Like, I'm actually feeling fine. Like, I can see us coming out, you know, and just sort of restart, and I can see another goal coming from somewhere. I think we'll probably come on to it a bit more, but I think the fact that it was that midfield three had a little bit something to do with not making the most of our chances. There was a bit too much space between the midfield three and the front three. There wasn't enough balls going through to the front three, in my opinion. But yeah, at half time, I was really happy with 1-0. Yeah, we could have got one more as such, but I thought after the first half, we'd go on to get another anyway.
I thought what was annoying was, you know, you've mentioned Robertson already, and like for me, Robertson now is getting into a conversation of who's a better left back that we've watched for Liverpool. You know, you might say Aurelio was technically better, but he was injured too much. This is a fella that you can rely on week in, week out to be 7 and above. And you wouldn't swap him for anyone, would you? And I think as well, like, it's worth remembering that he's played more of his football in lower leagues than he has for Liverpool. It's only like 68 games for Liverpool, and yet he's so comfortable there. He's so good. And what was annoying for me a little bit was we didn't get it to him enough. Because you could see he's having all that joy. He puts in the great ball for the goal. He puts in another great ball that's defended sort of to the max, if you like. One of their centre half just about gets his head to it, and it's like, so if we're causing problems with that ball, play that ball more often, get him on the ball more often. And I thought Henderson was hesitant a few times to send him when he was on. And I didn't really understand why. Henderson didn't have his best day, full stop, I don't think, and maybe that was why. Maybe he just didn't fancy himself to play the ball, but for whatever reason,
he kept looking at it, didn't he? That was the thing that was surprising.
He looked at it, and then
because I'd often say you can't see it, or there's a blocker or something like that, but he was looking and looking, and he was, for whatever reason, which made me think it was tactical in some sort of odd way, like he's been told don't do it too much or whatever. But he was looking and looking, and then he'd go, "Nah, go back the other side, go back to Genie or something." And I kept thinking, this is a bit strange.
I thought that as well, and like I say, some of his decision making in general, you know, wasn't the best, and you know, I wasn't particularly surprised to see him hooked in the end. I think probably by his own admission, he didn't have a great day. But yeah, I didn't really understand that, and it was interesting as well. Like in the build up to the game, I read Souness in the Times, and he was talking about Liverpool and about that midfield today, and he was saying when you look at Tottenham, you know, Liverpool had killed to have Eriksen, was basically what he was saying. Someone like Eriksen, and he was saying, you know, when they've invested this money in Keita and he's not been that type of person yet. He was like, you know, the manager was looking at Fekir, wanted Fekir, so it suggests that there's still something there. But equally though, I don't know how much you read into that midfield three problem as such. I don't know how much the manager still sees it as a problem, because he wants his midfield to fight and battle, doesn't he? And
well, the read Ty Hughes this morning in The Independent. No. It's really good, because what he says is he draws the sort of comparison that you draw there with Eriksen, but he draws it with Man City's midfielders and say they've got like sort of like almost twice as many assists, or maybe even twice as many assists as Liverpool's midfielders. But then he says Liverpool's fullbacks have got twice as many assists as Man City's, and I think it's really like, it could well be that for us, and that's why it was frustrating. Maybe he wasn't going to Robertson more, but for us, like, the creative fulcrums are actually the two fullbacks and not the midfield three, and that's quite different to what you expect from football. And
the numbers now for Robertson are amazing, aren't they? That's 9 assists, and I think it's only is it Baines and was it Hinchcliffe? I'm sure it wasn't Hinchcliffe.
I'd like to think it was Hinchcliffe. I'll tell you what.
He had a wonderful left foot.
He had a wonderful left foot.
Do you reckon it was Hinchcliffe? I feel like I've seen that this morning, and it can't be right, surely. But anyway, he's done really well, is the point. I mean, the seasons where Ronaldo was getting 9 assists and everyone was like, isn't that brilliant? And our left backs doing that. And I think maybe Trent's starting to realise whatever this bet is between the two of them, I think Robertson might have won it.
Is he paying out?
Whatever he's got to do, he's
like
going to
pay out.
Yeah, like Fred Doan. Going early. Going far too early on this. Don't go on early on it, Trent. You back yourself, son. We get to half time, and the other thing that I'm thinking, John, when we get to half time, is all of their mini opportunities, and they're not really opportunities, they're opportunities to create opportunities, are just from us letting them in. I mean, it's just mistake stuff from us. I think there's a couple of times Genie gets caught a little bit. There's a time Henderson gives it away really cheaply in the middle of the park that drove me mad. It's fair to say. To be fair to Henderson, from trying a big switch that I just didn't think was on. But there really was, I just felt like there was very little jeopardy by the half-time whistle. There was just that little patch where we felt a bit overrun in front of Matip / Trent / Genie / Henderson coming over. That was the only real area with Lucas Moura. There was nothing else that was concerning me.
Yeah, I wasn't too worried either going into half time. You know, I was thinking, you know, we're getting another 1 second half here, and then sort of kill the game. Really, I thought as I say before, I thought we'd played really well without, you know, being anything too dynamic or explosive. Really, I thought it was controlled. I thought we were on top, and I was seeing bits of the midfield problem, but I thought, you know, there was options there, you know, to maybe improve that off the bench if he wanted to. And so, yeah, the second half will come to a bit of a shock, really, obviously, because they change formation, don't they? And they change it about a bit. And it just seemed like we never really kind of got to grips with the second half. I thought what they did, you know, they did well. And I think Danny Rose is great, isn't he? Like,
I was about to say, I thought the two best players
really
on the pitch were Danny Rose and Andy Robertson.
Yeah, and it's sort of, I think he's become a bit forgotten, Danny Rose, because he's had all the contract stuff, hasn't he? And he might still be playing without one. I don't know. I don't know if anyone's looked into it, but like he's had all that and he was going and a couple of injuries, I think as well. I forgot what a good footballer he was, and he was sort of getting more into it kind of second half as well.
Kane's quite good as well, though.
Well, yeah.
But, you know, but I mean, like,
I'm going for the hipster choices.
But like, you know that he can better you. You know that he's a great goal scorer. But I was sort of impressed by his attitude and just, you know, even like, I mean, I actually think Henderson should be standing over that free kick, by the way.
Completely agree.
But nevertheless, to spot it and play it, you know, I don't know, you don't always associate Harry Kane with having that in his locker. Really.
I thought he was
great ball.
I thought he was great.
He was really good. He was really good, and as I say, maybe Henderson should have been more switched on to that quick free kick. But all the way, there was one bit though, you know, let's have some Virgil love. There was a bit where Kane tried to use his body against Virgil. He just buzzed off him. Was like, nah, just shouldered him into the main. And I absolutely loved that, because it was just like, no, lad, you don't do that against me. I'm Virgil van Dijk, fuck off.
When they did change the shape, Lizzie mentioned Rose there, Vertonghen left back, Rose to left wing, Eriksen then right, and sort of tucking in a little bit more of doing what can be technically described as bits.
He's really good as well.
Yeah, loves bits. Very much that's what he's into. But they really increased the tempo. That was the big surprise. The way Tottenham come out second half there is credit to them. No manager in the dressing room, so they've sorted that out with the coaching staff and themselves. And you know, we did get a couple of countering opportunities, but they really did come out that second half and get right on top of us.
Yeah, I didn't expect that from them second half, and I don't think Liverpool did either. And great move putting Danny Rose there on the left, but that Lucas Moura was brilliant, I thought. And when I first saw the team and I seen no Son, I thought, oh, okay, all right, because I think Son's been hitting real form, and especially when he plays alongside Harry Kane. But then moving to a 4-4-2, and like you say, putting Danny Rose on the left, it worked so well for them, and I think it caught us by surprise. We didn't really know what to do with it in my eyes, and there was, you know, like you say, there was that moment where there was a moment with Henderson, and it was like when he did get the ball and he was going towards goal, and he sort of looked like he took a shot and it went out, and everyone sort of like done that big groan, and then I think he gets taken off not long after, and then Fabinho comes on, and then as soon as like Fabinho comes on, I feel like then we suited them better to how they were playing.
I thought it was dead interesting watching. Did anyone else get on them trying to change the shape?
Yeah.
There was loads of them trying. Henderson was trying to change the shape.
Origi wasn't originally coming on either. Yeah. It was just Fabinho, and then you seen him sort of go, hold on a sec. Yeah. And that was a great move by Klopp as well.
There was loads of weird conversations that Spurs were trying to gag into, wasn't there? You see that? Yeah. Like they were following them, and it was like, fuck off, we're trying to have a conversation. And it was dead funny. Yeah. And I get exchanged to another two people, and they were following each other around, and they were pushing each other, and it like nearly went off over it. Trying to pass on instructions.
Klopp had a chat with Alexander-Arnold. Alexander-Arnold tried to have a chat with Wijnaldum. Wijnaldum was like, what? Yeah. Wijnaldum then went and had a chat with Klopp, and then Wijnaldum still didn't seem clear. So Henderson spoke to Wijnaldum, and then he went to speak to Klopp, and then Henderson sprinted back on the pitch and was like, and that's when Sanchez got involved, when Henderson was trying to speak to Wijnaldum. Wijnaldum kicked off. Henderson then walked around the back to go and speak to Mane to say, like, this is what you're doing now, Sadio. So mad. Whilst that's going on over there, I'll just have a little chat to you that they can't now geg into. And then they went back, and then but it was whilst all that was going, and then immediately afterwards they scored. So I felt a bit sorry for Henderson and Milner, because they changed the shape to go 4-4-2 and just matched them up, but they never really got the benefit of it, if you know what I mean, because by that sort of point it was like, well, the manager had then got Origi ready. But yeah, it was absolutely crazy to watch all that on the pitch. It was like the game had sort of stopped for 3 minutes while everyone was trying to work this out. It was absolutely crackers, but it showed, John, that it needed change, and I think that's the thing. And it maybe even needed change from 5-10 minutes before it got changed between the players and the manager, and it may have needed changing with a sub 5 or 10 minutes earlier as well.
Yeah, I think it's the easiest thing to do, isn't it, to say, oh, he should have done something earlier. But I think most people in the ground would have. But to be fair to the manager, they hadn't created loads, Spurs.
No, they hadn't.
And so I think maybe he's thinking, well, I could just get out with a 1-0 here, and if I do something, it might make it worse, because that's just something that obviously when you sat in the stands, you know, you're saying, do this, someone will be better. You're never thinking what might not work, and so I think what Jurgen's maybe like trying to get into his head a bit. He's thinking, well, you know, they're not creating a lot here, Tottenham, and we could just hit them on the break. Or
we had a couple of countering opportunities.
Exactly.
Salah should do better at 1-0.
Yeah, exactly. And so, like, you know, I think he felt that Liverpool were maybe as likely, if not more, to kind of to score than Spurs were, even though Spurs were kind of sort of on top. And so, you know, the goal comes in the end, doesn't it? And it comes, as Robert said, from a well-worked kind of quick free kick. And so you'd end up thinking, well, he should have. But I don't think it was quite as cut as dry as you can kind of, you know, you make out with hindsight.
You mentioned Henderson a couple of times. I felt like Wijnaldum and Milner just weren't in it. Certainly in the second half, Gareth. I was, you know, up until when the subs made, and even after that, really, I think that Genie sort of still, you know, you can't work out at times whether or not he's doing a lot of good work that you can't quite notice and appreciate, or whether or not he's just not in the game. And this season, I think we've given him a lot of benefit of the doubt at times that it is the former, because we've seen it maybe a little bit more. All game, really, against Spurs, I felt like he wasn't in it enough. First half, that wasn't a problem. But second half, I was like, I could do with seeing some Genie Wijnaldum here.
Yeah, and I thought Milner actually started quite well. And like, you know, he's played some decent balls to Robertson and looked up for it, and then faded. And you had the three of them, really. It's hard to, as the game went on, it's hard to pinpoint a lot of what they were doing. A lot of running around and sort of being in the right place, maybe at times, and things like that. But that was it, really. And I think with Fabinho coming on, I know everyone's praised his performance, and rightly so, but I kind of think we've got to temper it a little bit by the fact, you know, again, what Klopp said afterwards. He said, well, if you come on with 15 minutes to go, I'd expect you to have an impact because you're playing a load of lads who are tired. And there is a bit of that. But equally, though, I think it was a little bit of a surprise that maybe he didn't get the nod in there anyway. Why didn't he get the nod? Maybe because the rotation thing, which has served the manager so well. He's learnt his lesson in English football. He knows you've got to do that. He's trying to keep legs fresh and keep it fresh in midfield in particular, where he asks for loads and loads of work from them. But yeah, it didn't work, did it? And yeah, Wijnaldum hard to pinpoint what he did across the game, really. And Henderson, as I said before, I thought was poor, had a bad afternoon, lot of bad decisions, and it seemed to get in his head as well. It was one of them where I seen someone talking about Van Dijk the other week, and they were saying, you know, he makes that mistake against Fulham, but what marks him out as a brilliant player is that it doesn't bother him, he just carries on. Whereas I think with what you saw with Henderson yesterday, it got to him. I bet he was running around with a big hot face. Do you know what I mean? you know where you have that thing and you just think, I fucked up. I think he was doing that, and then it affected his players' time went on.
Just wanted to talk, John, briefly, because in a minute we're going to have a chat about why he doesn't start Fabinho, why we all think he doesn't start Fabinho, but there's something in. They do ask a lot of that midfield three, like not just whoever it is, the way in which he sets that up. It's a midfield three that has to be a 4. You see the average position of them just off the back of that first half, and Milner's average position's almost like classic left mid. Wijnaldum's average position's almost like classic right mid, and then Henderson's sort of like, I've got all this room to deal with here. But Milner and Wijnaldum are doing that as well. It is almost like the manager wants to set them up as, you know, where he's almost trying to get his extra man's running out of this team. It's like it's 4-4-3, if you see what I mean. And there's that's where he wants to graft. But some days it can just suddenly look like it's too much for the three of them.
Yeah, I don't really think that was the problem. No, I know what you're saying, but I think, like, with Henderson, it was, like, 1 minute I think he was having a good game in it, then he just give a real soft one away, and I don't think that's formation or kind of expectation. I think that's just, I don't know, is it concentration? Is it just not really having a good day? Is it, you know, I don't know what it is really. Is it the occasion? Is it, you know, the opposition? I don't know, but for Henderson, it just seemed like, you know, the ones he's normally fine with, you know, some of the passes that he's normally fine with, it wasn't happening. Wijnaldum just seemed very safe to me all the time. Like, it just seemed like, you know, it was a bit possession for possession's sake for him, rather than the play that we know he can be, which is, you know, more of an attacking threat, more of someone who's either getting forward to support the attacking players, or at least ensuring that they've got quick ball. And I don't know, like, it just seemed to be safe for me. And then Milner didn't really happen for either. Maybe, you know, maybe because he hasn't played any footy at all for a couple of weeks, you know, maybe, you know, you think about the international break kind of helping the ones who've retired, but, you know, maybe he's sort of coming in a bit cold. I just thought it was a bad day in different way for all three of them, really, and sort of in ways that you don't expect from them individually.
Okay, we're going to chat in a minute or two about Fabinho, but before then we're going to have a chat about our new app. So it gets closer, John, the launch of our app and the shift to our new pricing model. So we're going to try and do a very quick FAQ for people here.
Go on.
So let's sort of do it in order. The app launch does not have a date yet because that's depends on our side more than on the developers, but we're hopeful it'll be ready for testing very, very soon, and we're hopeful that it'll be by about the 20th of April.
Okay, yeah, mid-April.
Multitude of sins. 20th of April, the outside. If it happens faster, and everyone's feeling...
Well, I've had a little look at it where it is so far. It looks absolutely brilliant. Everyone's done a really good job on it, and I can say that because I've done very little, which has been nice. But yeah, no, it looks great, so I think everyone's going to be really pleased with it. And I've seen people already saying things like, I reckon I'm going to get more stuck into the writing, for example, because it's all going to be there. And that is the idea, to be honest. The idea is that, it's everything under one roof. If you like, it's everything in one place. Everything's just 2 or 3 clicks away. So whether you're someone who just listens to the free stuff or someone who, who likes the video and likes the writing, you can pick and choose. It's all there for you. And yeah, all looks very great and very straightforward to use.
It does indeed. So let me just go through a couple of the features / things that are happening with it. The first thing I would say is that if you are somebody who currently subscribes and gets absolutely everything, you'll be able to move to the £7 model on the audio, where it'll be the audio package that you currently have. The £5 package will be our skeleton service, and by that we mean we're putting something out, going to try and put something out every day. So if you're an existing subscriber and you want to stay on £5, you can. If you're currently not a subscriber and you want to come and get involved, you're not going to be able to go with the £5 level. That's only going to be for existing subscribers. It's 7 for all audio, and that's what we want people to be on. 7 for all audio, or 10 for all audio and all video. If you only like the video really and you just want to get that, you can get that, and that's £7 as well. The video will be the premium video will be able to be played with your phone in sleep mode. We're working really hard on the technical aspect of that, but we think we've nailed it. So I'm going to make that as a 3/4 promise. That should be happening. That the premium video you should be able to just listen to with your phone on sleep mode if you want to do that. So that is available for people. But we're making the video and we're building new formats and we're working on it because we want the video to be something that you've got to watch, to be quite honest with you. So you will be able to just have it in sleep mode, but we want you to be able to we want you to want to watch it. That's the aim with this. That's what we're being ambitious about, and we think we launched the stats show the other week. There's going to be another one of them, and there's a few more formats going along with all the stuff that we do around the games. What's currently on YouTube, other than Second Look and On This Day stuff, so post-match pint, preview and Second Look will all be going as the premium video. That was the intention right the way back in August. We said that at the time, but I recognise that some people might not have been watching that back in August, but that was always the intention. The hope with this app was that we were going to launch it in October. We had a bit of a decision to make when we realised it was going to come back to the spring, and we decided just to continue with that video because firstly, we're in the swing of it, and if you're trying to tell the story of a season, you don't want to be stopping and starting, and secondly, to get those formats where we wanted them and to continue to progress them. So that's where that currently is, and that's the plan with those little bits and pieces. Any other obvious questions, John, for people?
Just that if you, a lot of people have said, if can I continue listening to the audio how I do, the answer to that is yes. We want you to enjoy the app. We want you to download the app. We want you to to use the app because we think it'll be the best way to kind of access our services. But if you've obviously got, your way of listening now, you've got all your podcasts there and you want to keep going with that is obviously completely fine. You won't have to kind of listen through the app. We just kind of hope you do because we've worked hard building it. I think that's more or less everything. I mean, obviously people kind of get in touch if you do have any questions, but we've generally on the price increase, we thought really hard about it. We haven't put the price up at all in 4 years. When we launched Tour Play, which was the day after Liverpool got knocked out the FA Cup semi-final. So for those who say the Anfield app cynically launched things at certain times, I can assure you that's not the case.
Very much so.
Yeah, we thought long and hard about it. We didn't want to be one of these organisations who's putting up 20, 50p, every sort of few months, and so you're not really noticing. We thought hard about the price. We thought hard about how much more we're offering now compared to kind of when we started and how far the company's come, and obviously overheads have increased as well. But we just think that the offering's better. We think the quality's a lot better. The gear we've got's much better, and also we want to just keep developing as a business, keep developing as a company, and keep developing creatively really. And terms of what we're doing, and so this allows us to do that. Obviously, some people won't decide, to come with us on this next bit of the journey, and that's kind of fine. But we hope that most of you will, and we hope that all of you will see that we agree with us that it's still really good value, and it's still the best place to kind of share the journey of supporting Liverpool.
Very much so. Last little thing just occurred to me. We look like we will again. 3/4 promise be able to do video through the website too.
Yeah, the guys have been working really hard on that over the weekend again, and that looks really good. So if you'd rather watch on a desktop or rather listen on a desktop to the stuff which we know that some people do, then you'll be able to do that.
Excellent. As John says, it is sharing the journey of supporting Liverpool from the heart of the city. We're very proud of what we've done, but thank you so much for your support so far. We hope you come with us, and even if you don't subscribe, even if you don't pay the money, do download the app. It's everything that you want Anfield Wrap wise. It's all in one place. Everything will come through there for you. Hopefully you'll feel more engaged, and also, as ever, please do tell your mates. So Fabinho then, Lizzi. The manager doesn't pick him in Munich. It's worth pointing that out. And it's... I want to talk about why. It was quite interesting when we did our live show yesterday. Mel Reddy actually said that she didn't think Fabinho would start, and she said that the manager may still worry what happens when he gets pressed when it's an intense game and people get around. It was interesting that she said that on the live show before, and then the selection was made as it was. Do you think it's that? Do you think there's something tactical? Do you think, as John says, it's just rotation? Is it a trust thing with the three lads who were there? What do you think it is? Why do you think he's not started Fabinho? Because he's a clever man who knows much more about football than we do.
Part of me thinks it's trust, because I think the game that you compare this to the most in terms of, their attacking threat is City, and you look at the midfield three plays there, and it's the same sort of thing that happens when Fabinho does come on, is that, we've seen it when we played City at their ground. Fabinho comes on and he changed the dynamic, and I think that happens again. I do think it's a trust thing, and I also think it was something that would come up on the Pink, the post-match show, last night by Philippa, about when they all played internationally. Is it a fresh legs argument? If Henderson hardly, played a couple of minutes, didn't he, for England in the second game that he played for them. Obviously Milner hasn't played much football, but I think it's a trust thing, and I think it's a thing of, he looks at last season, he looks and goes, this is me trusty three. These are the ones that are going to run round ragged. And we've seen it with Fabinho, like you say, when he's being pressed. And with Tottenham's attacking threat, it could have gone one way or another with Fabinho. And who knows, if he would have started Fabinho and it was a little bit too much for him to take, then we'd all be calling for, why didn't he start that midfield three?
Gareth, is there something in the fact that he might actually, because there's a flip side to this, he might actually like him as a sub? He might actually have thought, I could do with having this. I'd like to be able to introduce this fella at some point around 60.
Yeah, just maintaining an intensity, because you just talked about just before that little break about the idea of how much he asks from his midfield. He also has got the ultimate respect for Tottenham. You saw that in how he spoke about them before the game. He really likes them. He likes the manager. He likes how they play. He talked about how it's almost helped them in a way that they didn't buy anyone because it's another year altogether and knowing what they're about. And so, when he spoke like that, that behind the scenes he'll be speaking about them like that as well. And maybe he said to the team, listen, it's got to be in the red zone for 90 to get something out of these. And so for it to be in the red zone for 90, maybe he's already said to Fabinho, you'll get on, and when you get on, we need you to be everywhere. You lads, you put everything in it and know that'll pull one of us. When your legs are going, this is how we're going to manage the game. And so, like you say, I think maybe there's something in it that he was always intending that he gets on, and he gets on.
Yeah, possibly. I think there's sense in what everyone said. I think certainly there is trust things. I think a little bit in terms of, it is a big game. As Robert says, he respects the opposition a lot, and he's just kind of looking at it thinking, these are me lads who know what they're going to do. And I think he is a little bit safe, and I think he is a little bit. I think all managers, or most managers, are really kind of, when it's tough and when it really matters, you kind of default to kind of what you know and what who's going to bring in. Maybe just it feels that there are one or two too many question marks about Fabinho at the moment. I'd always pick him. I think he's great, but he's gone with what he's gone with, and he's got the results in the end as well. So people talk about this midfield a lot. We say, how we saw a few tweets. How are we seeing this midfield again? It's like, well, maybe it's because we're winning a lot of games, and I think the balance does work slightly better with kind of different people. But I think people might have to get a little bit more used to it between now and the end of the season.
Well, what I will say is as well, if that midfield three worked up until they changed their shape and their formation. So how Tottenham set up at the beginning, we set up the way that we did, and we're not talking about that midfield three in the first half because it worked. And we all said that we went in at half time confidence, we controlled the game, we thought we were getting another. So it was only when Tottenham changed their shape, put Danny Rose out left, that all of a sudden that midfield three didn't work. But then that's when I think whoever said about game management, I think it was you, Gareth, and then you, Neil, saying that he probably would have ideally got him on a bit earlier, but then he was waiting to see what Tottenham done. It worked up until where it needed to work, and then when it needed to change, ideally it could have just been done quicker.
Go on.
I was just going to say also it's a little bit of a message, though, isn't it, to some of the others that, you need to pull your finger out, boys. Particularly Keita still. He still hasn't done it to a level where the manager will trust him in a game like that, and that's got to be a little message to him. I mean, I would have been surprised to see Lallana be in for this particular game, but I think Keita, if he was playing anywhere near the level he's capable of, or we believe he's capable of, I think possibly you see him in the game. But it's the same now with Shaqiri as well. Like, it's getting weird that now. Like, what's happened? Like, why doesn't he trust him at all to even be an impact sub? And it feels like there'll be a message in it, because this is the way Klopp is. I mean, I thought he was dead interesting. I don't know if you've all seen it about Lallana, because we know that he likes him, we know that he trusts him and things like that, but he did like another interview about it. Everything was on like the official site, but he said something like it was important, him having played well in training, that he got in the side, but it was important that it did that as a message to everyone else as well. And that just sort of piqued my interest a little bit and thought, oh, well. So I feel like, yes, it's conservatism, and yes, it's game management at times as well, but also I think he thinks that deep about it, that it's a message to other people in the squad as well.
I think the other thing is, as Lizzie sort of alluded to there, I think there is a thing there where he was waiting to see what Tottenham's first sub was. I think he was trying his best not to make a change, because he wanted to know what Tottenham were going to do first. He wanted to know who's Son coming on for, basically, because it was always going to be the first sub, but it was more who's he coming on for, not the idea of whether or not he's going to come on. And I think that was also in his mind, like, I'll make my change after they've made theirs, and then it was getting tougher and tougher with the shape and the reorganisation. It's interesting. Should we have a big chat about how Boss Divock must be at free kicks in training? It's absolutely brilliant. It was just the fact that it was like from the minute it was given, Divock was taking it.
I know, he was grabbing it, wasn't he? He was
but everyone else was like, yeah, it's Divock's this, obviously.
Confidently. Well, it was a bit like sort of when Trent took one in Europe, wasn't it? And everyone was a bit like, what's happening here? And then he puts it in, and you're like, oh, that's what's happening. And then Klopp was like, well, he's being brilliant on them in training. So maybe it just is that. We just said a second ago about that Klopp values what he sees at Melwood. And maybe Divy's just been, doing after hours and tucking free kicks in the top bin. I mean, nearly went in.
Yeah.
Nearly went in. So, but I mean, like, it's funny, isn't it? Because, we're all guilty of this, like football fans, you see a certain player over a period of time, and we all get sick of certain players after certain moments. And there's a fella by me. And like, so there's a fella by me that knows that I like Origi, and so like keeps going to me like, Divock Origi messing, and we have a bit of a laugh about it. There's another fella one along who doesn't like him at all, and when he was near that free kick, he was like, fuck off, lad, what are you doing there? What are you doing? Get away from me. And the lad next to me taps him and goes, are you talking about Divock Origi? Yeah. And look, it nearly went in. I think he's done really well, Divvy, to contribute, show the right attitude, and just look, he doesn't do loads when he comes on, but he's just like, he's a willing runner. He wins a couple of corners. He puts pressure on them. He looks lively.
You couldn't be bothered playing against him at that stage of the game. That was one of my things. Was all of a sudden if you're Trippier, you're going, oh God, I've got this fella to deal with. He's 6'3". He's direct as anything. Yeah. He's smart as well. He can cut in here.
Loads of elbows.
Yeah, he keeps going outside me, but he could cut in next time and get a shot away. Honestly, I was thinking if I was Trippier there at that stage of the game, anything but this.
Yeah, be arsed. And we had loads of corners, didn't we, as well? And you could see in the box as well, all of a sudden they were like, well, who's picking this fella up now? Because we've been dealing with Van Dijk and we've been dealing with Matip. Now we've got another fella who's massive and good in the air. Like, shit. And so I think he's really useful to have around. I know he's not everyone's cup of tea, but I'd be keeping him. I'd be saying, lads, you can contribute next season to Liverpool. And like, you already went out on loan once and it was disastrous and shit. Stay here, knuckle down, see how you get on. Because, like, God forbid that, someone gets injured and out of the front three. Well, see if he could end up playing, couldn't he? And what you're seeing at the moment, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, I agree with that. I definitely keep him. I was surprised to see him on the free kick, I'll be honest with you, because obviously we've got Trent there. I'm shocked that Virgil's not took one yet either, because I was watching YouTube's of Virgil smashing them in again for Celtic the other day. It was just what I get up to late at night.
Bit of quality Van Dijk time. We're all doing it.
And yeah, he scored some belters, hasn't he, over the years, like especially for Celtic. So I'm a bit surprised that he hasn't kind of just barged everyone out the way for one yet. But I quite like the way Divi approached it. Like his run-up he looked like he knew what he was doing.
He really did. He honestly looked like a man who's taken a lot of free kicks, which was shocking because it's the first one. Do you know what I mean? He approached it like it's Divock Origi time. Like, you know when people used to go, oh, it's Beckham territory. Like in Divock's head, the commentator was going, it's Origi territory, this, you know. You don't give them away here with him on the pitch.
I like the way he sort of went up to it. And as Robert said, it didn't nearly go in.
Honestly, I think we're missing. I think he's going to bang one in next game, and we're all going to be going. That's what we've been waiting for. It's what we've been anticipating.
So many high-pitched voices around me. Is he? Is he saying that? I was like, yeah, he is. Just, but it's like you said. There was clearly a thing there where everyone knew their place. It was like, you know, when Jesus was meant to like move water and like walk through it. Like Divock Origi comes on the pitch and everyone just moved out the way and was like, Divock's taking this free kick. And you can imagine Klopp's just gone in the first thing in his talk before the game. The first point. If you see Divock on this pitch, he's taking the free kick.
Yeah, it was the way Mo Salah, who by the way isn't shy of putting himself forward for this sort of thing, even though he's not scored one. Went, well, it's Divock's. One of them, isn't it? It's Divock's this one. In general, the oddity of football, they fall back at 1-1. Trent tweeted afterwards, Lizzi, we wanted it more, and I think I would not for 1 second say those Tottenham players didn't work unbelievably hard. But I think what he's sort of getting at there is that the extent to which they decided they were happy with a point. They were on top. As soon as it went 1-1, and maybe we upped it, or we felt, listen, we've got to seize the initiative here. But I thought they really fell back, and all they were trying to do was play on the counter. It nearly worked for them, don't get me wrong. But they went from being the dominant force in the game to basically camped on the edge of their own box.
Yeah, it felt like their work was done in a way. It felt like before the game they'd sort of said to themselves, you know, it's going to be a struggle to get 3 points here, so let's see if we can get the points and then see what happens. That's what it felt like to me. And I agree, because when they scored, I literally thought, oh, shit. Because of how good Tottenham are, this is it now. We're going to have to soak up a load of pressure.
I felt 2-1 Tottenham was coming more than 2-1 Liverpool when they scored.
No, I completely did. So I was quite confused as to why that didn't happen. Even when they brought Son on, I just felt like, hold on, this isn't happening how I thought it'd be happening. Liverpool started to get back into the game a little bit more, and then that's when my attitude sort of changed until that mad chance with Sissoko and Son. But other than that, yeah, they did. It was like, you know, even with Lucas Moura sticking the ball up his shirt when he scores, and it's like their whole attitude, it looked like they were just completely happy with the point and they were happy to take it, and then, you know what, anything else was just a bonus on top, and they should be scrapping for 3 points and still fighting for top 4. But it was like they looked at us and they respected us, going, well, this is Liverpool and we're not going to get the 3 points against this side.
We talked a lot, Gareth, before the season started, before last season started, about Liverpool at home, the home record, and I think there's an element of that there. I think there really was a moment where if this was the Tottenham rap, if we were doing this now, I'd be saying I'm furious we didn't seize the initiative at 1-1. We should have gone on and we should have continued to run the game, even though we did miss the big chance. And the reason why it'd be but I think what's in their heads is almost like the manager, who's not in the dugout, it's worth saying, has said to them pre-match, points, great result here. And I thought the most I've seen a side for a while go, points, a great result here. It's certainly a really good side. That's it, now we'll just take this and get out.
I think maybe as well that they ran a little bit out of steam.
Like, given so much to get back to 1-1.
Yeah, because I thought they started second half brilliant, Tottenham, in terms of their intensity, in terms of looking like they wanted it. I mean, I was like John in that, you know, I was having a pint at half time thinking, oh, but we're sound here. And I was actually worried because for this season I've missed so many goals just after half time because we started second half dead well, and so I was dead conscious of it and trying to fit in a pint and a piss and get back in my seat so that I didn't miss the inevitable Liverpool goal at the start of the second half. But it didn't turn out that way, and I thought they played well. Obviously we mentioned the formation change and that worked for them as well, but just you know, not just formation changes and things like that, just the intensity of what they did. I thought, oh, well, these are at it here. And they looked a good side. They've got good players, obviously. I think, you know, the manager's pretty universally liked as well. And I think maybe they ran a little bit out of steam. But also as well, I don't think we can overstate the Anfield thing. I'll always do it because I think it gets in their heads. Yeah, I think it gets in their heads and you know, it gets in our players' heads. And Klopp was like talking about it afterwards and he was saying, he thinks it's the best it's been. which was high praise indeed, of course, when you've had like Dortmund and things like that. But also he was talking about, and it didn't feel like he was particularly praising this aspect, but he was laughing about it. But he just said, like, basically everyone just went forward at the end. Everyone. And he was like, we didn't leave much back. I think he was saying there was 7 on the left wing or something. But, you know, but in a way that was great to see, because it was like everyone in the ground just went, nah, fuck it, let's win this. We've got to win this. I mean, you could do that. I was thinking about in the ground, I'm doing the post-match pint in a bit, and how am I going to dress up a draw? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And like, you know, it'd be a bit exhausting to do so. And then that happens, and we all get to tumble over seats, and it was absolutely fantastic. And, you know, look, those players, I always say it, like, what would it have been like in that dressing room? Yeah. Would there been absolute scenes? It would have been amazing. And Klopp might be grabbing them this week in Melwood and going, I don't know what you were all doing there, you know, but sound.
This all game set pieces felt like a threat for us, John. And even though it wasn't like there was, you know, it wasn't like we'd had 3 really good chances before the one, but all the way through, I thought we're getting something here from set pieces, not least because we looked like we'd worked on something. We really were Cloud and Lloris. It was that, you know, even if it doesn't directly contribute to the goal, if you know what I mean, it felt like we got very much in Lloris's head there in the end. And I think that's, you know, Liverpool had a plan to deal with him. They did a bit of a number on him, I think, and it's an unsophisticated number, but a number nonetheless.
Yeah, and unsophisticated numbers are fine, aren't they? It's a shame those 2 or 3 early corners were just a little bit overhit, weren't they? Just because I just wanted to see how it was going to turn out. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, because as you say, they were really quite... I've never seen us really do that. I don't know if anyone else has sort of got different memory, but yeah, this idea of kind of all around the keeper, really, he didn't like it at all. He was just shoving people. He was shoving his own lads. He was shoving ours, wasn't he? He wasn't happy at all. And then we sort of went away from that second half. But it was a bit of a shame. I think Trent hits one straight out, doesn't he? And then there's another one as well. And yeah, just to see sort of how threatening we could have been of those and how they dealt with it, really. But then, as you say, all game trying to do different things, it looked like we were a threat. And I think Virgil completely misses one, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And which is quite on Virgil, like.
There's a cheeky one as well, wasn't he? Like one that he'd obviously worked on, where it goes to Milner.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah,
I really liked that too, because I'm not into short corners. But the difference with Milner is he wasn't like to the left.
He's in the box.
He was in front, weren't he? And that little through ball to then just get, you know, a little bit more of an angle on it. Yeah, I like that.
I liked, all the way through. I did a little number on it. And also, Lizzi, just the value of keeping it alive in the box. It's, you know, we said before, it's not the best header that Salah will ever do, but he keeps it alive. And I think that's... It's goalmouth scramble 101, but it's still good to see, to be quite honest with you. It's the first virtue of... Doesn't matter, you can be the best player in the world, he's one of the best 5 footballers in the world, but there's a time and a place for just ensure it's somewhere in the 6-yard box, because you never know. Well,
I was just about to say that sometimes Liverpool have been guilty of not doing that enough. You know, when it's getting to the last couple of minutes and you need to goal, at least if it's in that area, you've got more of a chance. Put it in the danger area, see what happens. There's a mistake in everybody. We're human, do you know what I mean? Mo Salah, but he's still a human. Hugo Lloris, and with our luck with goalkeepers at the minute, I think we're on to our 4th now. Nice one, Lloris. Get it in, cause problems, and just see what happens, because you never know. And then look what happened, a beautiful mess.
I still don't really know how it went in. Like, I know.
I've watched it,
but time. I'm telling you, it's like someone press pause on the telly.
But also, even after it's going in, he goes to clear it and then just doesn't.
Gets his foot stuck on the floor.
Does he? Is that what happens?
Yeah, it was mad.
Yeah.
Because I thought that's getting cleared there, because it wasn't, when he went to boot it, it wasn't a goal.
No, it wasn't going very fast.
Oh, it was just mad. It was mad. Madness.
Yeah.
Well, and George gave it to Salah. Loved it.
That was optimistic, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
He's trying to give him a boost, didn't he?
Yeah, he really is. Done everything he can there. He got the crowd singing his name afterwards, so it's all worked. I think as far as, if you Klopp, it's one of them you're saying afterwards, don't watch it back, lad. Don't worry about it. It's yours. City have Cardiff next. There's no hope there. They've got Cardiff on Wednesday night. It is, Gareth, just a matter of staying with them now until their games go mad. I think that, for me, you know, looking at the way the fixtures compare, doing all of that sort of stuff, it's beat Southampton on Friday, go back top, and then that's when, you know, they've got 5 left. I think we've got 4 left after then. Oh no, sorry, they've got 6 left. We've got 5 left after then, and that's when the pressure is going to be absolutely bundled right on them. That's all we can do.
That's all we can do. Yeah, look, no one knows how it's going to unfold, but you know, I'll say it again that, you know, we're in April now, and we're in contention for the title. And it's not been too often we've been able to say that over the years, so just enjoy every step of the way and see where we end up, because, you know, that's what we want. Klopp's talked about, you know, the platform for it. we've created that platform. We've done that again. We've done our bit against Spurs. And look, maybe it just does get in the Reds a little bit. I mean, it doesn't help that Warnock, the hypocritical twat, is going on about playing an under-strength side already. And then, you know, absolutely lost his shit with Benitez for allegedly doing that against Fulham or whatever it was that time when he was Sheffield United boss, so he can fuck off. But
he was absolutely diddled yesterday, to be fair.
Well, I know, it was all, I mean, it's the most offside goal I've ever seen in my life. But, you know, but yeah, I don't think we can expect anything from that. I mean, they did have a bit of a go against Chelsea, but that was at home. You know, it's entirely different when it's actually at City's place, and I don't think we can pin much hope on that. But some of the other ones continue to say it look difficult, don't they? United, obviously, Palace, Burnley. And then I just think, we were talking about it in the ground, and I just think that whole, the 3 games against Tottenham, I just think that can change all kinds. I mean, you know, remember when we had it with Chelsea, and it just becomes weird in the end.
It makes football odd.
Yeah.
Because you're playing the same players over and over and again, like 3 times in a row, it just becomes odd, and odd things can happen. And let's just hope the odd things happen in the league game and Tottenham win. And that's not beyond the realms based on what we saw yesterday.
Optimistic?
Well, not for Cardiff. But generally I am optimistic. Yeah, I agree what Gareth said. I think, you know, there's games there where they are going to find it much tougher than they did against Fulham. You know, Fulham was a bit of a stroll in the park for them, really, in the end, which is a bit of a shame. But, you know, there's games where it is going to be much tougher. I don't think Cardiff will be capable, really, of putting up much, you know, but I think the other teams who can. Robbie Scotch has already ensured me that Palace are going to box it for us.
It's right.
Thanks, Robbie.
It's right, Robbie.
That was good of him. I think I think that Burnley game I've really got my eye on, you know. Yeah, I just, you know, my boy Jack Cork popping up.
Crouchy?
Yeah, well, it's Crouchy, yeah. I mean, Crouchy would love it, wouldn't he? And I think there's just enough of them, isn't there? Do you know what I mean? Like, if it was just United or nothing, then you start to worry. But I think there's enough, you know, these to go, well, maybe there, or maybe there, or maybe there. We've obviously got to beat Southampton on Friday, but I think we will.
Do you know what as well? I think what we've not mentioned, even though it doesn't affect us points-wise in the league, is yet they're playing Cardiff on Wednesday, and then we're playing Friday in the Premier League, but then they've got to change their mentality. They've got to switch to FA Cup mode then. That'll do their heads in. They'll be gutted that they can't play straight after us, because if we win on Friday and they know that they literally can't play then over the Saturday or Sunday, they're not going to like that. You know, well, good luck to them.
Well, not good luck to them.
Not good luck to them.
Bad luck to them.
Lose every game, you bastards.
Say what you like about Man City, but bad luck to them. They've been terrific all season.
All the worst, lads.
Yeah, all the very worst for Manchester City. They have been fantastic all season, and it's an unbelievable title race. It's just frustrating that we're in another unbelievable title race, but it is absolutely fantastic. It is what it is to be alive. Listen, thank you very much. Listen to the Anfield Wrap this week in association with Red's Bet. Thank you very much to Lizzi, to Gareth, and to John. It's been an absolute belter. It was a hell of a 2-1. I hope you've enjoyed listening to these people, these brave people in this room's voices fraying after yesterday's celebration and occasion. Everyone's working so very hard, but no one's working harder than Liverpool.